You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Tuesday, July the 7th, 2020. The Red Sox and Blue Jays played each other in an AL East matchup, and the Red Sox won by a score of 11-5. The Blue Jays had the lead early, but then the Red Sox put together some good innings back-to-back. They got 5 runs in the bottom of the 6th, then 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th, and they ended up winning by 6 runs. Colton Brewer got the win, and Wilmer Font got the loss. A battle of the Big Apple. The Mets and Yankees played each other, and the Yankees won by a score of 5-2. The Yankees had all 5 of their runs after the 5th inning. Meanwhile, the Mets scored both of their runs in the 8th. Garrett Cole got the win, Rick Porcello got the loss, and Aroldis Chapman, now with 19 saves on the season. A battle of Chicago. 13-5, the final score of this game, and the Cubs prevailed as the better team in Chicago today. Alec Mills got the win for the Cubs. He came out of the bullpen, and Gio Gonzalez got the loss. He's now 8-7 on the season. The Orioles and Mariners played each other, and the Orioles got shut out. 7-0 was the final score of this game. The Mariners won. The Mariners got 2 runs in the bottom of the 1st inning, and then put up 5 in the bottom of the 8th to make it harder on the Orioles, who didn't score anyway. Sadzik got the win, Cole Stewart got the loss, and Carl Edwards Jr. earned his first save of the season. The Tigers and Angels played each other, and there was a lot of offense in this game. 11-7 the final score. The Tigers got 22 hits as a team. The Angels got 11 hits as a team, but the Angels fell short by 4 runs. You see, it was a Tiger lead early with them scoring 4 runs at the top of the 2nd. The Angels were chipping away. It was a 1-run game up until the top of the 7th inning when the Tigers put up 3 runs in the top of the 7th, 2 in the top of the 8th, and 2 in the top of the 9th. The Angels were making a run at a comeback, but even though they scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th, they fell short 4 and lost. Michael Fulmer got the win, Andrew Heaney got the loss, and Joe Jimenez earned his 23rd save of the season. The Royals and the Twins played each other, and the final score of this game, 5-0. This an AL Central matchup. Kenta Maeda still undefeated on the mound this year. He's 11-0 now. The Phillies and Astros played each other in an interleague game. 5-1 the final score. The Astros came out on top. Though the Phillies scored first, they got their only run in the top of the 2nd inning, but the Astros tied the game in the 3rd, took the lead in the 4th, and kept scoring a bit after that to win by 4. Justin Verlander got the win, Aaron Nola got the loss, and Ryan Presley now with 4 saves on the year. The Pirates and Braves played each other, and the Buccos came out on top. 5-1 the final score of this game. The Pirates got 5 runs on 5 hits. The Braves got 1 run on 4 hits. Chris Stratton got the win, and Grant Dayton got the loss. Interleague play between the Rangers and the Marlins saw the Marlins win by an 8-1 score. Caleb Smith got the win, Mike Minor got the loss. The Rays and Brewers played each other, another interleague game. 12-2 is the final score of this game. The Brewers came out on top. The Brewers took an early and commanding lead. They had 7 runs after the 2nd inning, and there were some little numbers put up by both teams toward the end. The Brewers broke out with a 3-run bottom of the 8th inning, and despite the Rays scoring at the top of the 9th, the Brewers were able to win by 10. Eric Lauer got the win, and Blake Snell got the loss. An Ohio battle between the Indians and the Reds saw a close game. 2-1 was the final score of this game. The Indians out-hit the Reds, though, 7-6, but the Reds ended up winning. The Indians also committed 2 errors as a team in this game. Sonny Gray got the win, Carlos Carrasco got the loss, and Raisel Iglesias earned his 19th save of the season. The Cardinals and Nationals played each other 8-4. The final score of this game, the Cards came out on top. Dakota Hudson got the win, Max Scherzer got the loss in his first start since coming off the injured list, and Giovanni Gallegos up to 32 saves now on the season. He's one of the leaders in the National League. NL West baseball between the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. The Rockies won this game, 9-3 was the final score. The Diamondbacks scored no more than 1 run in any inning that they did score. However, the Rockies had a 4-run bottom of the 3rd and a 3-run bottom of the 4th inning, which was enough for them to win the game outright. They tacked on a couple more runs later on. Herman Marquez got the win, and Robbie Ray got the loss. Another NL West battle between the Dodgers and the Padres. Saw the Padres win by a 6-4 score. Garrett Richards got the win, Julio Urias got the loss, and Kirby Yates now has 29 saves on the season. And an interleague battle of the Bay. The Giants and Athletics played each other, and the Giants won this game. 6-1 was the final score. The Giants scored 2 in the bottom of the 5th and 4 in the bottom of the 7th. It was all 6 of their runs. The Athletics broke out against Johnny Cueto in the top of the 9th inning. Cueto was not able to get a complete game shutout in this game, though he got the win, and Jesus Luzardo, his mound opponent, got the loss. Let's take a look at standings now. Starting in the American League East, the New York Yankees still at the top. They're 54-37. The Blue Jays lost to the Red Sox today. They're 52-40 now, 2.5 games back of the Yankees. The Red Sox have evened out. 46-46 is their record. They're 8.5 games back, and they've won 9 of their last 10 games. The Rays are 45-48, 10 games back. They lost today. And the Orioles also lost today. They're 38-55, 17 games back of first place. In the American League Central, the Minnesota Twins won today, continuing to add to their already Major League best record. 65-28 is their record, and they lead the Central. They've also won 8 of their last 10 games. The White Sox, the next best team in this division, their record is 53-39. They're 11.5 games back of the Twins. It's rough being an AL Central team this year. The Indians 50-42. They've lost 3 games in a row. They're 14.5 games back of the Twins. The Tigers are 38-54, 26.5 games back. They've won 4 games in a row. And the Royals have lost 4 in a row. They've also lost 8 of their last 10. They're 31-61, 33.5 games back of the Twins. In the American League West, the Oakland Athletics are 56-36. They lost today to the Giants. The Astros won today against the Phillies, which moves them a game closer to the Athletics. They're 3 games back with a 52-38 record. The Angels are 43-49, 13 games back. They've lost 4 games in a row. The Rangers are 38-54, 18 games back, and the Mariners are 33-60, 23.5 games back. They beat the Orioles today. Here are the AL wildcard standings. The White Sox still have the number 1 spot with a 53-39 record. The Astros a game behind them with a 52-38 record. Then you have the Blue Jays, who have evened out over their last 10 games. They're 5-5, and they're now a game back of the Astros for that second wildcard spot. The Indians also relatively in contention with a 50-42 record. They're 3 games back of a wildcard spot. And every other team in the American League has a winning percentage at or under 500 and is at least 7 games back of a wildcard spot. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals are 52-40. They're still at the top of the division. They lost today. The Marlins won, so they've gained a game on both the Braves and the Nationals because the Braves lost today as well. But the Marlins now 49-42, 2.5 games back. The Braves are 49-43, 3 games back. The Phillies are in fourth place. They're 42-49, 9.5 games back. And the Mets are 42-50, 10 games back of first place. And they've also lost their last 3 games. In the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals continue to lead. They're 53-39. The Cubs, the second best team, 47-45 is their record. They're 6 games back. The Brewers, 44-46, 8 games back. The Reds, 39-53, 14 games back. They've also they've also won 4 games in a row. And the Pirates are 33-58. They're 19.5 games back. They beat the Braves today. Every National League Central team won their game today. In the National League West, the Los Angeles Dodgers continue to lead. They have the second best record in Major League Baseball at 62-30. And that, of course, makes them lead this division specifically. The Diamondbacks are 50-42. They're 12 games back. The Padres have won 3 games in a row. They beat the Dodgers today. They're 48-44, 14 games back of the division lead. The Rockies are 38-53. They're 23.5 games back. And the Giants are 35-56. They're 26.5 games back, though they beat the Athletics today. And here are the NL wildcard standings. The Diamondbacks have the top spot. They're 50-42. The Marlins a half game back of the first spot, but they still have a wildcard spot with a 49-42 record. The Braves are 49-43, a half game back. The Padres 48-44, 1.5 games back. The Cubs 47-45, 2.5 games back. But the Brewers have a winning percentage under 500, but they're still in contention, 4.5 games back of a wild card spot. Now, every other team in the National League has a winning percentage under 500 and is at least 7 games back of a wild card spot. And let's take a look at league leaders, starting with batting average leaders in the American League. Miguel Cabrera has the highest average at .347. He's been on an upswing since going on a cold streak a couple weeks ago. Miguel Andujar with the next best average at .335, and JD Martinez third best with a .330 batting average. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has the highest average at .358. Jonathan Villar slightly below Goldschmidt. He also has a 358, but some of those insignificant figures are inconsistent with Goldschmidt's. And Christian Yelich is third best with a 347. Hits leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar at 126, the most in the AL. Miguel Cabrera second best with 124, and JD Martinez rounds out the top three with 121. In the National League, Jonathan Villar is the most hits with 138, Paul Goldschmidt the next best with 119, and Nolan Arenado third best with 114. At bat leaders in the American League, Jose Abreu at 377. In the National League, Jonathan Villar at 386. Doubles leaders in the American League, Anthony Rendon has the most with 33, Whit Merrifield the next best with 28, and Jose Abreu also the next best. Technically, they're both tied for second in the American League. In the National League, Jonathan Villar up to 40 doubles, 8 behind him, Christian Yelich with 32. Juan Soto and Trey Turner are tied for third best with 27. Triples leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi has 7 triples, Jose Altuve has 6, Stevens Piscotty, Whit Merrifield, and Adam Eaton all tied for third best with 5. In the National League, Jonathan Villar is at 12 triples, Victor Robles second best with 7, Chris Bryant, Cody Bellinger, Hunter Pence, and Tommy Edman all tied for third best with 5. Home run leaders in the American League, Justin Upton still at the top and still the only player in this league with over 30 home runs. He's at 32. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. the next best with 28, and Josh Donaldson third best with 27. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt and Ronald Acuna Jr. tied for the most home runs in the NL with 32. Pete Alonso, Freddie Freeman, and Jock Peterson tied for third best with 25. RBI leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is at 86, 10 behind him, Chris Davis with 76, and Nelson Cruz third best with 74. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt at the highest with 88, and if you've been keeping score, Paul Goldschmidt at this moment leads all the Triple Crown categories, average home runs and RBIs. Freddie Freeman second best with 70, and Christian Yelich third best with 69. Runs scored leaders in the American League, JD Martinez has the most with 70, Marcus Semien second best with 68, and Yohan Moncada third best with 65. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. at 76 runs scored, Paul Goldschmidt the next best with 73, Christian Yelich and Trey Turner tied for third best with 70. Stolen base leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi has the highest amount with 20, D. Gordon second best with 19, and Malik Smith third best with 18. In the National League, Trey Turner and Starling Marte still tied at the top with 30, and Jonathan Villar rounds out the top 3 with 23. Walks leaders in the American League, Alex Bregman has the most with 57. In the National League, Mookie Betts has the most with 63. On-base percentage leaders in the American League, Miguel Cabrera has the highest at a 416. Chris Davis second best with a 414, and Alex Bregman third best also with a 414. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has the highest with a 455. Christian Yelich second best with a 448, and Ronald Acuna Jr. third best with a 418. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson has the highest at a 655. Max Kepler second best with a 631, and Justin Upton third best with a 620. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has the highest at a 729, Ronald Acuna Jr. second best with a 711, and Christian Yelich third best with a 670. OPS leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson has the highest at a 1.067, Chris Davis second best with a 1.027, and JD Martinez rounds out the top 3 with a 1.011. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has the highest with a 1.183, Ronald Acuna Jr. second best with a 1.129, and Christian Yelich third best with a 1.118. Moving on to pitcher leaderboards, starting with wins leaders in the American League, Hyunjin Ryu and Kenta Maeda have the most at 11, and Jake Odorizzi's third best with 10. In the National League, Walker Buehler has the most, not only in the National League, but in all of Major League Baseball with 12. Steven Strasburg second best with 11, and Madison Bumgarner third best with 10. Losses leaders in the American League, Chris Bassett and Kenta Maeda have yet to be defeated on the mound this year. In the National League, Caleb Smith, Steven Strasburg, Marcus Stroman, and Walker Buehler all tied with the least amount of losses this year among NL pitchers that qualify. They all have 2 losses. Saves leaders in the American League, Liam Hendriks has the most with 31, Brad Hand the next best with 30, and Roberto Ozuna third best with 28. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos has 32, Craig Kimbrell second best with 31, and Kenley Jansen third best with 30. ERA leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda at a 2.32, Jake Odorizzi second best with a 2.52, and Daniel Norris rounds out the top 3 with a 2.67. In the National League, Marcus Stroman has the lowest earned run average at a 2.16, Walker Buehler the second lowest with a 2.22, and Jacob deGrom third with a 2.41. Home runs allowed among American League pitchers: Kenta Maeda, Gio Gonzalez, and Daniel Norris have all allowed the least amount of home runs with 9. In the National League, Caleb Smith has allowed the least amount of home runs with 6. Shutouts thrown among American League pitchers: Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka still at the top of this list with 3. Jake Odorizzi third best with 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has thrown 4 complete game shutouts. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Merrill Kelly, and Walker Buehler are all tied for second best with 2. Strikeout leaders in the American League: Garrett Cole at the top with 161, and it's a far lead for him. Lucas Giolito the next best with 143. Jake Odorizzi and Carlos Carrasco are tied for third best with 132. In the National League, Steven Strasburg leads with 154. Clayton Kershaw the next best with 148. And Robbie Ray third best with 139. Complete games thrown among American League pitchers: Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka have thrown the most at 3. Jake Odorizzi and Aaron Savali tied for third best with 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom has the most with 4. Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler have each thrown 3 complete games this year. Innings pitched leaders in the American League: Hyunjin Ryu at 129. In the National League, Aaron Nola beating him by 2/3 of an inning. Aaron Nola has the most innings pitched among pitchers in Major League Baseball at 129 and 2/3 innings. Walks allowed among American League pitchers: Carlos Carrasco and Masahiro Tanaka have walked the least amount of batters at 22. In the National League, Brett Anderson's allowed the least amount of walks with 24. Whip leaders in the American League: Jake Odorizzi has the lowest at a 106, Hyunjin Ryu the next best at a 109, and Carlos Carrasco third best at a 111. In the National League, Aaron Nola at a 105, Marcus Stroman the next lowest at a 106, Clayton Kershaw also at a 106, third best though on this leaderboard. Pitching WAR leaders in the American League: Jake Odorizzi at the highest with 3, Carlos Carrasco second best with a 2.9, and Shane Bieber third best with a 2.7. In the National League, Jacob deGrom up to a 3.5, Steven Strasburg trails him at a 3.2, and Aaron Nola third best with a 3.1. Batting WAR leaders in the American League: Marcus Semion's at a 5.3, Yohan Moncada at a 5.1, DJ LeMahieu also at a 5.1, slightly lower than Moncada's, putting him at third on this leaderboard. And in the National League, Christian Yelich up to a 6.4, Jonathan Villar the next best at a 6.1, and Paul Goldschmidt third best at a 5.9. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Tuesday, July the 7th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.